I don't know if we were over ambitious. I just don't think I would do that kind of trip exactly again. I think it worked out perfectly. We planned to be in Banff for only 3 days, and I felt like I could have spent like 5 months there.
The reason why we decided to go to Banff National Park is because this guy is allowed in all the Canadian national parks. He wanted to fill his puppy passport. When we sat down to plan this trip, thinking, is there too many stops? Is it not enough? And I don't think we did a good job at that.
So we left Park City and then traveled to West Yellowstone, which was pretty cool because we got to see a bunch of grizzlies.
Yeah, I knew nothing about grizzlies before we really got there. And I don't think I had enough respect for them. Kind of camping in grizzly country made me fear, or made me more cautious, I think.
Last year I went to Alaska. Being in Denali, they taught us a lot about grizzlies and what to do, and so I felt pretty prepared. Still really crazy though, seeing like the really huge ones in West Yellowstone. Definitely kind of scary that they can get up to like 1,000 pounds.
And after that, we headed up through the rest of the small towns in Montana, getting through Big Sky, getting to see that ski resort, even though it was a little rainy. Then eventually made our way to Helena. Got to go mountain biking, which was really rad, and getting to hang out in that town. Definitely a city I probably would have never stopped if it wasn't for this trip. And then camped at a Walmart, a little Walmart B&B in Great Falls, Montana, before hitting the road the next day and just making our way up to Canada from there. But then we got to start seeing the Canadian Rockies, and it was stunning.
They were very jagged and exposed, and you just saw all the rock, and they kind of like just jutted up out of nowhere, so it was really neat to drive into them. I definitely think it was worth getting up at like 4 a.m. to drive an hour to Lake Moraine, go out and paddle, and like no one else was even on the lake. So it was definitely worth it. It was cold though.
So we woke up and it was already pretty light out, and I thought we had missed, this sunrise. Seeing that for the first time, it really is as blue as the pictures show, and it's not just some Instagram filter. It's easily one of the most beautiful places I think I know for a fact that I've ever been, and it was just quiet and peaceful. I think is the best way to describe getting out there on the SUP board.
And feel your blue sky within, so deep in you, I'm blinded by your bittersweet shine. Get what you need, I'll make you feel free, be mine tonight, and feel your blue sky within. Do you think of me when you're on your way home?
Awesome, I can check that off the list. Feels really good to be an international climber. On to the next country.
Brought all that gear, climbed one sport route where we had to bail off of it because it was a multi-pitch sport route, not a mountain project. But we still climbed, we still sent it, and it was a blast.
The drive down there from Banff was really neat. We saw a couple bears. There was just beautiful scenery on that dirt road. I don't think many people actually get to go down that. It doesn't seem like it.
Just taking a dirt road for 2 hours straight was really, really unique. The cascading mountains and different snow lines and some of the ridges, and getting to see bears on the side of the road. And we get to the campground, and a park ranger goes and tells us that a mother grizzly and her 3 cubs were in the area and had been chased out of the campground like 3 times.
Being told that there were grizzlies in the campground was a little scary though. That probably was the scariest part, I would think.
When we woke up the morning to go to Glacier, it was pretty overcast and rainy.
I mean, it reminds you of Banff. It also kind of reminded me of like driving through like Norway a little bit with like all the rivers and that kind of stuff.
But still a lot of snow up there, just like many of the places we choose to go to. I don't know if it lived up to the hype because it was so gloomy out, and maybe all of the good things, like most places, are off of the beaten path.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to go back to Glacier and explore it without Gregor so we can do some of the hikes, because some of them are supposed to be spectacular and we didn't really get to do any. And then also, I think the best part for me was like my parents had been there 40 plus years ago. So then to say, yeah, I've been there too, and then like kind of compare stories of what's changed, I like that part about it.
I think the most memorable part of Glacier was at the pass road, kind of the visitor center. And so there's a really cool contrast of this life and brightness and very gloomy landscape behind it.
I think stopping at Salmon at the end of the trip was definitely worth it, and I would want to go back there and explore it more.
It's definitely like a culminating moment. We were kind of winding down of the stoke of being in the truck and then getting to just hang out on a river.
Gregor was so excited to play in the Salmon River, so I think he really enjoyed the trip as well.
Definitely a rad way to end a trip, and I definitely want to go back. So much to do there, it seemed. I think we were definitely over ambitious. There's a lot of things we wanted to do. I think planning it, I listed every mountain biking, climbing, hiking opportunity. Just wasn't reasonable or feasible, or just, I don't think we had enough energy to do something like that. I think Courtney and I have decided that we need to focus on one or two sports when we go on trips from now on, instead of trying to cram a bunch of things in.
I think we had enough stops. I don't know if we were over ambitious. I just don't think I would do that kind of trip exactly again. I think it worked out perfectly. Got to see a lot. Like, where else would you go through that much of Montana, probably? Like, I don't think we would have ever picked to go there. So like those stops like made it totally worth it to me, because I think we got to see a lot.
After spending like 3 days to drive to Canada, yeah, I think Lake Moraine was absolutely worth every second.
The most memorable part of the trip was definitely Moraine Lake, because it's been on my bucket list for a long time. Banff National Park just has, so actually seeing that in person, it was breathtaking, definitely amazing, so I'd go back.